Recording. And here we
go. Sweat Equity Podcast, streaming show, the number one comedy business podcast in the world and the number one business comedy podcast in the world.
What?
Pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with a real raw dog talk.
No.
You love it. It's coming back in the intro, dude.
No.
Yeah, dude. Our guest on the show, Steve Edwards, CEO, founder of Premier Virtual. Man, that guy shot out of a cannon. He's a fun one. I love that he gleeked.
I missed it.
It was like a big dip gleek almost, but he didn't have dip in because he's a professional. He's a consummate salesman. PremierVirtual.com if you are an employer looking to hire, or if you're a job seeker, he has virtual job fairs on there. Hey, listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Do us a little favor. Hit that subscribe, smash the subscribe button. Smash it. Yeah, girl. Smash that subscribe button. Give a 5-star review. Write a little sentence about how clever we are.
Yeah. More clever than what
like
he
that.
just said to
like
do.
That.
But, do good, please.
Episode sponsor,
so
Squarespace. Squarespace, we've got an affiliate link.
Oh, yeah.
What's up? Holler if you hear me. Squarespace, look, we made now, between the two of us and combined, probably over 200 Squarespace sites. It's what I recommend for clients, especially in the professional services area. Or if you have a blog, or if you're a DIYer, Squarespace is the way to go. Fuck all the other content management systems.
Okay.
What? Squarespace is better.
Fucking thing sucks.
You got e-commerce abilities, you got email abilities right in there, and now they have analytics tied in. It's getting girthy with Squarespace. Look for the link for a discount in this episode description, and let's go hang out in West Palm Beach in a tiki hut with Steve Edwards. Howdy toddy.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. Sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
Can you hear us?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
All right. Is this audio only, or is it video too?
We do both.
Okay, perfect.
Primarily audio, but we're going to have to ask about your background.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're recording. We just go right into it,
Okay.
man. We want to be efficient with CEOs.
Dude, love it. You know, there's a lot of wasted time out there. I appreciate efficiency.
Steve Edwards, founder and CEO of Premier Virtual. For those listening, you can't see this tiki hut backdrop he's sitting in. So where are you right now?
I live in South Florida.
Okay.
So I built a tiki hut in my backyard. I always wanted the tropical oasis, and we just bought a new house like 6 months ago. And the first thing we did was build a tiki hut back here.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No.
Are you worried about it burning down? Because that looks like a fire
No,
hazard.
I try to keep the fire. You can't really see it, but I got
Oh
the
no.
little fire thing over there. We try to keep it away from it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
As long as the hurricanes don't take it down, I'm good to go.
Well, you've been fortunate. I think last one it hit over there was Andrew in '94. I think. There's
been a couple that have hit us here, but was it 4 years ago? They were supposed to be the one that was going to wipe out Florida. It was going to be bigger than Andrew. We got it. We had a newborn that was a month old. We got in the car, drove up to Atlanta, and we had a couple sticks. It hit us worse in Atlanta than it did in down here in South Florida.
What was that? Irene?
Yeah. So you're not from Florida originally then?
No, I'm from Wisconsin originally.
Okay. Yeah.
You're a good import.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking
We're in Tampa, by the way.
Yep. I actually lived in Tampa for 2 years.
Oh,
you guys, right downtown. The Hub, the bar, the Hub.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've performed in the Hub.
Did you? That
getting
bar.
lucky at the Hub.
Oh yeah.
I lived at the condo Element right across from there.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, I saw Eric destroy a girl who was in the palm of his hand at the hub.
I didn't do anything wrong.
She was ready to go, and he was like, I don't know what to do.
That's not what happened. You know that's not what happened.
She was like, I want to dance, man. And you're like, well, what do we do?
That's not what happened at all. You know what happened.
We've talked about it on the show.
Did we?
The hub is such an amazing spot. So
really magical.
I was there, and I was there. My buddy lived across the street. And I walked over one day, we were at the pool, and I walked over to get a bottle and talking to the lady there. And she's like, yeah, we sell to-go bottles till 2 a.m. And I'm like, okay. I walked in, and I had just moved to Tampa, was looking for a place, walked back over to the Element and said, okay, I want to sign a lease here, right? If you have a bar like that, you know, it's this is how I describe the hub. There's not many places in America where you'll have an attorney, a homeless dude,
right,
and then a middle-class guy, all sitting next to each other, talking, having a good time. I mean, every drink is a triple there. I mean, you walk out of there, you smell like an ashtray.
It's a plastic cup. Yeah, it still smokes inside, I think, right?
No, that's not allowed anywhere anymore.
So for those out of the area, think of the dive bar that has stayed in downtown while everything else grew around it.
Yeah.
And it's like
stuck in 1978.
Right.
Everything else is present
like dark.
day.
It's really dark. It's like
it's got a jukebox.
You got a weird like kind of people coming in there from all walks of life. Very Florida, if I had to kind of give it a theme, where you do have like, doesn't matter class wise, it just matters everyone's a little weird that goes in there.
It's just there was many nights where we started there and we had planned to go to South Tampa, and we never made it out of it. You know, 3-4 drinks later, and it's like, yeah, you're not walking too far.
Yeah.
Any other decrepit places you loved in Tampa?
My favorite spot was the Eddie and Sam's little pizza spot downtown.
Yeah.
Big fan of Eddie and Sam's. Anytime I travel to Tampa, I go back there.
We lack a lot of good pizza places, so that one's one of the legit ones. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I tell everybody I tell it's from New York that I know when they're in Tampa, I go check out Eddie and Sam's. You're gonna have that Blue Point out by International Mall. That's a big fan of that restaurant out there. But as dive bars, Hub's probably one of my favorite that I've seen in the country as I travel around a lot for work.
Yeah, it's the dive of dives, I would say.
Yes.
So you're in West Palm Beach, is that right?
Yeah, we're a little south of there.
Okay.
But we're right between West Palm and Boca.
Yeah, West Palm's an interesting area in itself. It's like super hoity-toity and then not at all. Like it's like clear line between the two. Like I've done the West Palm Improv a few times, and I'm like, such a weird atmosphere. It's like people in like boat shoes and blazers and like 80s rich people.
Yeah.
Like what you see like characters of rich people in 80s movies. And then like just fucking opiate struggling like people coming off the street.
That's there. All through college, I bartended up off of Clematis. So that you couldn't describe it in a better way.
Nice. FAU you went to, right?
Yeah. So, I went to FAU. The bar I worked for, actually, they used to have one in Tampa, too. It was called Bar West Palm. They had Bar Tampa, Bar Atlanta. Yeah.
That's where all the Bucks players used to go, I heard.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. But it was a fun little spot. Then they turned it into Have a Nice Day Cafe, and then something else. Now it's completely torn down, and that whole area is a little different.
So, congrats on getting on Forbes, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We want to know how you did it.
We not to be glib, but we just want to ask. We know there's a path to being a contributing writer, and we figure we just instead of trying to figure it out, with
or writing something
or hitting up our PR friends that have come on this show, why don't we just ask the guy who just got on there?
Yeah, honestly, it was through a PR company that we did some work with. And we were in there twice. The first time was just kind of a mention of Premier Virtual. And then they reached back out to me and did an article. So I went the kind of the PR route of getting in a lot of different magazines, getting, published or in different newspapers. And then we got that call, which was, again, it was from the PR place, but it was getting our name out there, getting it in the, the smaller, stuff that nobody's ever heard of before, a backroom newspaper in the LA, I think it was LA Weekly was one of the first bigger ones that we got into. And it just kind of escalated from there. And they would just put our information out there. And finally we got a phone call.
Yeah, we might need to get that PR company's info off air, unless you want to give them a plug. But we think it would be funny because we toe the line between comedy and business or entrepreneurship, and with this show, and we think it'd be funny if we got like legit ranks of, like, as mentioned on.
Why you shouldn't take business so seriously,
right? Yeah,
that's the
I
title.
love that.
As seen in King
People
magazine,
need that.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
USA Today seems like we can do that. We can make that happen for some reason.
Why? Why is that one?
I think, this is, and this may be a little off the subject, but send out tweets. Go out there, just send out messages, right? Now that Musk owns it, you can do pretty much whatever you want. You're going to be able to do on there. But I used to do that every time I used to, what I'm doing today, I used to put on job fairs. That's kind of how I got into this industry. Every time I'd go to a market, I'd just send messages out to reporters. And a lot of times they didn't pick it up, but sometimes they'd pick it up. I'd get mentioned on the news. That was all free press that I got. So if that's what you guys are looking to do, come up with a catchy tagline, send out Twitter messages to every reporter, because it's real easy in every market, right? I'll use Tampa for an example. Every time I would go into Tampa, I'd go to the Fox, ABC, NBC, and CBS affiliate, and I would go right to their website.
Yeah, we should do
and
that.
I would just send them messages. I would send all the reporters. I'd send them a tweet, and mine was just a little bit different. Of, hey, I'm coming in with 400 jobs. Would love to get you out here and do an interview or something with me.
Yeah, we gotta figure out that angle. That's the thing. I think
we've been here our whole lives.
We're working on. Yeah, we have to have a reason to hit them up. But you're right. That's that.
We're gonna do a telethon.
Well, your background is in sales, and that is a very gritty sales thing, because where we might stop ourselves doing that is like feels icky. But I feel like good people with a sales background, like efficient, proficient. People with the focus in that area professionally, you'll just get it. Just go do it. Not care.
Dude,
it's a numbers
funny
thing.
You said, right, sounds icky on there, but think about, right, you said you did West Palm Improv. It's the same thing. Some people are going to laugh at you. Some people aren't, right? What can happen in sales? And this is what I teach my salespeople. Who gives a shit if somebody says yes or no to you?
No, I know.
Right?
You're right.
It's the
You're
same
right.
thing in here.
Let him finish.
Come up with a cheesy line, right? A cheesy, thing. I sent out to my my director of marketing last week, and I said, I want you to create a blog on this: the Great Resignation versus the Great Return. Who's gonna win? And most people don't know what the Great Return means, but it's all these companies that are trying to bring people back in the office, and people are like, no, I like working from home. I like working from the beach or wherever. So it's going to be a battle. So I said, make this fun and go out there after that. You guys could do the same thing. Come up with a cheesy pickup line or a cheesy line. I like cheesy pickup lines. That's how I met my wife. But, come up with a cheesy line. It comes, put your things in there, a quick little article. It's all about, it's clickbait, right?
Yeah.
Send out something, get them to go to the story to get you on air.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're trying to do.
We'll figure out an angle. We're kind of leveling up the show, and so once we'll kind of probably dovetail it with that, where we'll figure out some way to. I mean, you got to have a reason to be like, hey, we can't talk to our buddy Ray Roa, who's the editor in chief of Creative Loaf, and be like, hey, do a thing on us. Like he's right. And what was
we just need to make up something that we'll do.
Right.
Probably embarrassing for us.
We'll have,
but a dance-a-thon, telethon.
We'll do a free strategy session for someone that wants to.
No, that's not going to sell.
Someone who wants to.
It needs to be
entrepreneur or something.
We are being.
I don't know. We'll figure that out.
And there's a ton of come up with something and think of how many people are moving to the west coast of Florida right now from New York and New Jersey. Right. How many people right now are moving to Florida as a whole? And, there's a lot of it, right, with entrepreneurs. There's tech money coming down to Tampa, just like it is here to Miami. Come up with something like that, right? There's a ton of money coming in there. And people want to hear and think of stuff outside the box.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I was just kind of saying stuff out loud as why we
Could be the welcome committee.
Yeah.
The welcome committee podcast.
Welcome. So I pulled up some stats per what you were talking about with the block. Wait, before we get sidetracked on the real important thing, what was the cheesy pickup line that got your wife?
So we were at it was at an FAU football game, first football game at their new stadium.
Romantic.
I walk up.
You kind of look like a football coach for some reason.
Yeah. Is it the baldness?
You look like an offensive coordinator for some reason.
Could be, I walk up to this girl that's in the stands and I go, "Oh my God, you look familiar." She's like, "Yeah." I go, "You look just like my next ex-girlfriend." She started laughing. She goes to leave. I put my phone number in her phone as your next ex, and now we've been together 10 years. Got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Man, it's not that cheesy.
No, that's pretty good.
Some nuts to do that.
Yeah. Now, how many chicks did you do that to that night?
Right. Yeah. What is that percentage?
What's the numbers game, man?
How many wives do you have?
Yeah.
So you have more than one wife? Just one wife?
None that night, but the best part, it took me a month to get a date with her, and I'm texting her, and she finally sends me a text back. She goes, "Why don't you just put me and my friend on the same text message, group text? Because you're saying the same BS lines to her that you are to me. So why don't we do this?" And I was like, "Listen, I'm going to a party. It's a birthday party. I'm coming to pick you up." She's like, "Nope, I'm at home already." And I was like, "Listen, I'm in a Mickey Mouse shirt. I'll be at your house. I'll pick you up. I'm going to take you to this birthday party, and we'll go from there." And it worked,
Wow.
Here we are.
Nurturing a lead, like almost like the programmatic bots that hit us up.
Yes.
You're like is this the same thing you're telling everybody?
Grant Cardone on that one, just no stopping. If you listen to Grant Cardone when he talks about, his wife and how he goes after things, like he doesn't stop. People either love or hate that guy, and I feel the same way, right? You can either love me or hate me, but I'm here to help people, and I'm here to get what I want.
I think we love you.
Yeah, we love you, and I'm a fan of Grant Cardone. I think the biggest thing is like you don't let those small negatives get in the way of what you're doing. You just kind of move on, and I think that's a good kind of philosophy when you're trying to lead a business, right? Or you're trying to do your own thing.
Or live your life.
Yeah, live your life in general. I mean, the thing like all comedians have is like you could crush, but that one person with the folded arms that out of 300 that isn't liking it in the club, you're like, the fuck's that guy's problem, And it takes a while for you to realize it's probably nothing to do with this show at all. He probably had some other shit. Yeah. Why would you come to a comedy show, and fold your arms and just be, stone faced the whole time? So.
It's something in their life, right? And you got to look at it like that. I got taught early on in my sales career, and I can't teach it like this in sales, but I can do it, I think, here on this podcast. So
yes,
early on in sales, right out of college, I was a stockbroker. And this was where you were just dialing the phone, and that's all you had, right? There was no Twitter. There was nothing. It was a stack of cards of people that were BS, and you had a phone and a mirror in front of you with no chair. And I had to sit there and dial 600 calls a day. And at one time, this guy told me, he's like, "F off, don't ever call me again, throw my number away." So I went to my senior broker and I was like, "Hey, this guy said, everything this guy said." He takes it and he puts it in to the bottom of the pack. And he goes, "Now get back to the dial." I'm like, "This guy told me to call." He goes, "Listen, this guy probably just walked in on his daughter getting banged out by some dude that he doesn't like. And he wants nothing to do with anything you sell him." He goes, "Next week you call, wife had taken him out and gave him some ass. Now he's happy. He's going to listen to everything you got to say." And I go, "So what you're telling me is sales is all about timing?" And he goes, "Yeah, exactly." Mm-hmm. So that was over 20 years ago today. And I still teach that to my people now. I have, female employees that work for me. And in sales, I don't tell the whole details, but I say,
for ice cream.
You thought it was doing something with somebody he shouldn't have been doing. And then next week, the wife goes out to dinner and he's in a much happier man. But if you think about it, right, sales and right, the punchline and stuff, like so much of it's about timing, and so much of it of what is that person going through in their life, right? That person that comes to your comedy show that is sitting there with their hands crossed, they might just be having a bad day, or they're just pissed off at life.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It takes you a while to realize.
I got dragged there.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be the husband of a wife that wants to really go to a show, and he's just like, I want to play with my Hot Wheels or whatever the fuck,
That husband could have been traveling all week long, came home. It's Friday night. He's eating out at dinner. He's been out, entertaining clients all week. He comes home. It's Friday. He's got to mow the grass, and then the wife wants to go out to dinner, and he doesn't want to listen to her nag anymore. So he's like, I'm going to go out there.
And he's impotent.
And what the guy should do is say, hey, I'm going to have somebody come in, cut my grass. So when I get home on Friday, I don't have to spend that 2 hours cutting the grass, so I can go out, smile with my wife, and be happy. But something is going on with his life.
I agree. I'm great.
It's not your fault. That's
and everybody should be laughing. And if they're not, it's their fault.
It's on them. It's on them.
Well, do you think your military background meets your professional beginnings as stockbroker and mortgage industry sales? Do you think those really help you to get where you are right now? Like, I feel like you have efficient. You have good energy. We can kind of feel that, but it's like, you gain those kind of skills along the way on the sales side. Did the military kind of give you that kind of get up and at 'em, or that kind of due diligence, I should say?
I think the military gave me discipline.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
That's the word I was trying to go for.
I was a 17-year-old kid when I signed up for the Army because I didn't want to go to college. I hated school. I wanted nothing to do with it. I got to the Army and I was like, this sucks. Like, when I was signed up, I was like, I'm going to be a career. I'm going to be a lifer. Like, I love this stuff. I got there and I was like, this isn't fun, right? A lot of the people around you, you're like, yeah, there's a reason that you're going to be that you're a lifer in the military because you can't do anything else. But I started to go to school at night while I was there. I was like, I kind of took the discipline that I had, and then I went to college and, I kind of went backwards for a semester. And then I, realized that, hey, listen, like, I like nice things in life. And to have nice things in life, like, I got to work hard. And, I was a little older in college because I, got out of the military. And a lot of my friends were older. They were stockbrokers. They were in the mortgage industry. They all had money. And I'm like, I want money, and that was what I was like, how do I get that? Right? Like, what do I have to do? And it's not always been success. I mean, I've had terrible years, and challenges out there. And, when I met my wife, I go, listen, I'm a salesperson. Like, I'm going to have a great year and I might have 2 bad years where I take a loss. I go, but that's just the roller coaster. If you want to be on it, I'm going to have it. But I just had the discipline to be able to go out. And I know if you come out with a positive attitude, a great work ethic, right? Like, you can build yourself. You can find stuff out there, like people said, oh, you were lucky when COVID hit, you were lucky with your business. I said, no, I watched the trends and you could see where my business was going. And I just, took a shot.
It's opportunity meets preparation. I mean, like, given your background. So you nicely dovetailed this into Premier Virtual. You've kind of found yourself in a unique position because you've been doing career fairs before that, correct?
For 9 years.
Were those virtual or
all on? They were all online.
So you were kind of probably the rock star where you were working, I'm guessing.
So there was a small company. It was me, and I got in the job fair industry because previous to the job fair industry, I was the director of sales for a company, and I would go in the company I worked for. We had clients, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. So I would build sales forces. That's what I would do. Like when I was in Tampa there, Verizon Fios was my client. So I ran business-to-business sales team for them. But how do you build a sales team? Job boards and job fairs. You got to hire people. So my markets were New York, New Jersey, Florida, and Texas. So I was on the road. I was single, pre-wife, pre-kids back then. And you could go to these markets and you would go to every job fair. Well, I found a company out of New Jersey and I loved their market. They were geared towards sales. They did it in the evening time. So people that were employed looking for a better opportunity. And we did a presentation format where we got to speak in front of the group and say, here's who we are, here's what we do, here's what we're hiring for, here's why you should work for us. So it was efficient and I loved it. But then when my company shut down the division, I went to the owner of that company and said, hey, I like what you do. I don't want to work for you, but I want to do what you do. So after 6 months of negotiating, deciding what we're going to do, I bought the license agreement. So I had North Carolina to Florida, out to Texas and Arizona, and I did these job fairs. So it was me. And I was the only guy out of that. And he had a couple other people that tried to do the same thing that I did that just weren't successful. But in 2018, people didn't want to come to job fairs anymore, right? They want to be on here.
The trend was already going that way pre-pandemic.
It was right. So think of, if you look at Indeed, right? Indeed change. I could get into a whole thing about from Monster to Indeed and that whole
Monster
change of things,
sucks.
but yeah, but people would rather apply online. You look at every millennial and Gen Z. I mean, my 4-year-old and 7-year-old are all over their iPads, right? And they can grab my phone and get to anything. It's the generations where we're at, right? Things were changing. And I found out about virtual. I said, this is the future. You know, instead of me being, you know, on the road with young kids and you know, being gone 3 nights a week, I could be sitting at my desk running an entire job fair in Florida at one time. And I said, this is it. You know, the guy that we were working with in Jersey just wasn't as big of a fan as virtual. So we parted ways and we started developing the Premier Virtual software in 2019. So developed it all of 2019 and launched in January of 2020.
In the first 10 months, Premier Virtual was up and running. You helped connect 35,000 companies with 350,000 job seekers.
So those are big numbers.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. We've now had almost 1 million job seekers, which if you look at Indeed, it doesn't seem like that big of a thing, but I did more job fairs in the first 6 months of Premier Virtual than I did 9 years combined with the other company.
So that kind of
added the tiki hut.
Yeah, that's why you have your own
Build an
tiki.
addition.
Yeah, you have your own bar at your house. That looks like could be for Margaritaville. That's all we can kind of see. But you kind of like, a lot of people would go, oh, you just got lucky with the trend, but you saw remote workforce happening. I threw in some stats. I prepped. Yeah. 16% of companies globally are fully remote. Pre-pandemic, 4.7 U.S. employees were working from home, and then
4.7 what?
million U.S. employees. Did I skip that? And then now
0.7 human walking around somewhere.
And then 58.6% of American workforce is currently working remotely in some capacity. Maybe not fully, but at least some hybrid or full working remote. I mean, we talked about it on this show for 5 years, basically. How long have we been doing this? 5 years?
5 years, and that's weird that you said that because I just noticed that today.
Oh, has it been 5 years today?
Yeah.
Nice. So, we've been talking about, like, it was more frustration of having to meet not via Zoom because people want to meet in person that are low tech or just like, I'm like, it feels like a colossal waste of time to drive to our old office, come up there and like, or I had to drive to other, clients' places that didn't really need it.
Right.
It could have been a phone call or a Zoom call. And it's like, we saw this happening and the pandemic just sped it up,
It was, you said it, right? And I say it a lot, it was a catalyst, right? That it really showed the world what could be done. Pre-pandemic, people are like, virtual job fairs, like, how does it work, right? They didn't understand it. And they started to see, what could be done. Now, in less than 2 years, we've done 7,000 virtual hiring events. So think about that. 7,000 virtual hiring. A job fair in Massachusetts, the state of Massachusetts did an event, and they had 1,700 companies and 17,000 job seekers at one event. Over 1.3 million company booth views, 46,000 available jobs on that job fair. Okay, record-breaking job fair, largest ever job fair that could be done. That couldn't be done in virtual. But guess what? That organization, state of Massachusetts, now said, Steve, and we joke about it, they're like, we want to break your system. They now have partnered with 6 states around them and are doing a job fair with 5,000 companies later this year in one place.
Yeah.
People see what it is. But the best thing about right, virtual as a whole is anybody can do it. You can do it from anywhere, right? Small town Wisconsin, where I live, you could be out in the country. Maybe you don't have internet, but you have cell phone service, so you can get on mobile, right? We work with, West Virginia, Tennessee, Wisconsin, a lot of places that are rural, and they can still attend these events. But the data, which is the most important thing out there, can be tracked, right? From an in-person job fair, guess what? You might know how many people walk in a door, But do you know how many conversations? Do you know how many resumes were submitted? Do you know how many interviews are scheduled?
That was
That stack of business cards is like this high.
right. Well, yeah, it gets overwhelming for
lose them.
the people trying to hire, and then they end up. I think bad hiring happens a lot of that way when you do like ZipRecruiter from the employer perspective, and everyone gets like small business especially because it's usually not an HR person; it's someone just beleaguered. I'll step up and help out.
I'm so tired. I need to hire somebody.
Right, I'm a coordinator or associate level or something. I'll just help out the team. And it's like they get inundated with so many resumes. They just go, oh, fuck it. I don't even want to look at this thing. And it's like, it's kind of a bad system pre what y'all were doing. I'd say the tracking, when you go to the how it works on premiervirtual.com, it kind of explains that. And that I was thinking almost like, in a silly way, like, what if you had that like a trade to me, job fair is like a trade show kind of setup in real life.
Yep.
What if you could tag everybody like a cow and just like, like you have tracking on everybody. You have a low jack on everybody.
So you're going to love, and I love the way you say that. I'm going to figure out how I can spin that and say that in a post, but think about it like this, right? You really touched a point there. You have a recruiter that's sitting back, right? And I think recruiters are like salespeople. You either have the ones that want to sit there and wait for everything to come to them, or you have the hunters that are out there.
Yeah.
But the ones that are waiting for the resumes to come in on the all the job boards that are out there, right? They get the resumes and they're just coming in, okay? They look at it, right? And they're looking at a resume. They're looking at some words on a piece of paper, right? And then how many candidates out there, right? They just sit there and they see a job and they just submit their resume, right? Like, there's a couple of the job boards out there that after you submit your resume, there'll be a thing that says, here's some other jobs that you may be interested in. And what do the candidates do? They go, click, 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 click. I just applied to 50 jobs. Feet go up in the air. Jerry Springer comes back on. And guess what? They think they applied for 50 jobs.
Right.
But they're not qualified for any of them.
Right.
And then the recruiters get pissed because they're not getting qualified people, because people aren't reading. And I had it a couple weeks ago. I had something on a job board, and a person came in and they asked me a question. Okay. The question they asked me was in the job description. So that was one red flag already. Then again, I sent him back. I said, hey, it's in the job description, but here's the answer. Sends me an email back. Where are you located?
Oh,
delete.
God.
Instant delete. I'm like, you didn't read, right? So that's the problem. So what we did, right, we'll call it your tagging aspect here, is I believe a candidate is more than just a resume, right? A resume, my first resume, I went to Google and I said sales resumes and I pulled some stuff. I'm like, oh, this sounds really good. I took that sentence and I put it here. I built my resume off of BS stuff off of Google. But what we built is you have your resume. You can upload multiple resumes, right? They could tailor make a resume right in and submit, right? Because some people have multiple resumes for like sales and one for leadership. Sure. But we also, they can tag all of their experiences. So they can put their experience. They can put if they have any certifications, IT or teacher. They can put if they have security clearances. And then they have video questions. So a host of an event could ask like 10 generic questions. Tell me about yourself. If you were able to time travel, what would you do? Why should we hire you? Generic questions. So now that candidate could come in and leave a video answer, right? So almost like their video resume. So when that job seeker, right, they want to, or that organization, ABC Mortgage, wants to look at a candidate, they can look at a candidate, they can look at their resumes, watch their video resume, look at their experience, and then say, hey, I want to have a conversation with you. In a job fair, there might be somebody 15 people back that's just waiting in line. That's the right fit. But I got to get through those 14 people that are not a good fit to get to that 15th one, right? And then I can do that in the virtual side is I could go through and look at each one of those resumes. Not a good fit, not a good fit, not a good fit, not a good fit. Oh man, this one's got a great video resume. Let me send him a message or her a message and say, hey, I want to talk with you. Can you jump on a quick video? Instantaneous instead of waiting to get through all those other 14 people. Not
to mention the opportunity cost of waiting through those people in real life to wait for your turn to get up while you may have missed out on other things that you could have applied for or talked to at a real job fair. It's an asynchronistic way to kind of do it.
I'm at a job fair and I'm like sitting in line and I'm like, I got my resume. I'm all excited. I waited 15 minutes to get to the front of the line. I hand him the resume. I'm like, hi, my name's Steve. I'm looking for a sales job. And I'm like, sorry, we only have engineering jobs. Oh, I just wasted 15 minutes. Let me go stand in that other line. And then I do the same thing there. And then I go sit here. Virtual, like it's built. I built this for efficiency so that candidate can come in, look at a location, look at an industry, find just those companies. Because my goal, what I tell every client out there, is you want to put the right recruiter with the right candidate to make it efficient, right? That candidate could come in, see a company and say, I'm not really interested in that company. I'm going to go to the next one. They didn't have to wait in line. That took them 5 seconds to go in and see it. Next one, they could go in. This is a perfect company. I want to send a message to them. The recruiter says, are you ready to jump onto a video interview? They could do a video interview. Then they could, they could be scrolling through and say, hey, I like these 3 companies right here. I want to schedule one-on-one time with each one of these back to back to back. They can do all that.
Well,
efficiency.
You cut the fat in hiring. I love that you just spit off camera. That's awesome.
Did we get it? I think we missed it.
We could definitely have a beer with you at the hub. And it's funny you said time. Well, so we want to have you back on because there's a lot more meat off this bone. I've especially scalability and hyper speed, but we try to keep these about 33 minutes, and we want to be respectful of your time. We'll contact the booker that put us together. But we ask everybody the first time they come on, and it's really weird. Eric and I made eye contact, not in a sexual
more than normal,
not in a sexual way, but when you said time travel, because the way we kind of preface this question for your first time coming on is, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self? And we kind of always have a secondary explanation of like you time travel back, Bill and Ted style, in a phone booth. You go back, you see yourself, grab yourself by the lapels in Wisconsin, and you go.
I'm going to actually tell you probably something you've never heard before.
Okay.
Nice. I'm going to tell my 13-year-old self, do what you do. Don't change a thing. Because I wouldn't be here today if I changed anything. And, I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have my wonderful kids. Like what I did in the past, and I had a fun past, right? I loved being a bachelor. I didn't get married till I was almost 40 years old, and I wouldn't change. Smart. Did I make mistakes in my life? Absolutely. I made financial mistakes. I made mistakes with women that I shouldn't have, been talking to. I made a lot of mistakes, but what the mistakes that I made has made me learn how to not make those again and how to be a better person. So I'm not going to change anything from who I was from what I did when I was 13.
You're scared of the butterfly effect. No, but it's one of those things where, you entrepreneurs, the big difference is learning from your failures, I think, and limiting your weaknesses in whatever way you can. So that is, I don't think anybody's ever said that.
I thought we had. I didn't.
We have?
Say
who?
It, but
you remember?
I don't remember who. Come on.
You can't remember 359 episodes.
Nobody's like Steve Edwards. Nobody thought of that before.
Well, you definitely.
I thought I might do that. I might be like, I'm good.
Well, you got that good energy we love as a guest. We'll have to get you back on later this summer because I want to ask about that hyperspeed growth. I want to ask you about probably some of the data features you might be implementing soon. Because that video stuff gets me thinking. If you can start tracking data on facial cues, you can transcript those out. Maybe you can use that data somehow. So I'll table that. Plus, I want to hear all the girl mistakes you made. So, but yeah, appreciate you coming on, and we'll have you on soon.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. You guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, you're
a wonderful week.
If you're ever in Tampa, hit us up.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
So yeah.